קהל נכבד, שלום לכם וברוכים הבאים לטקס הענקת פרס הארווי. לכבוד אורחנו מחו"ל, אעבור לשפה האנגלית. Good morning. I would like to welcome you to the Harvey Prize ceremony. My name is Asya Rose and I'm a professor at the Rappaport Faculty of Medicine at the Technion. It is my pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremony today. Although masks are not required, we strongly recommend that you keep yours on, and I'm proud to invite the members of the Presidentium to the stage. President of the Technion, Professor Uri Sivan, please. Vice President for Academic Affairs, Professor Shimon Marom. Vice President for Research, Professor Kobi Rubinstein. Because we were unable to hold this ceremony during COVID-19 pandemic, this year we are awarding prizes for 2 years. It is my pleasure to invite the Harvey Prize laureate to take their seats on the stage. For the 2020 Prize in Science and Technology for Professor Joseph Marc de Simon from Stanford University. Please. For the 2019 to 2020 Prize for Human Health, Professor Rafael Meshulam from the Hebrew University. For the 2020 to 2021 Prize in Science and Technology for Professor James R. Rice from Harvard University. Please. President of the Technion and Technion Management Distinguished Laureate, and Professor Av Chai Chovav, Vice Rector of the Hebrew University, faculty, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. The Harvey Prize is awarded annually to exceptional scholars and scientists from around the world, regardless of nationality, race, religion, or gender. The laureates are selected based on their achievements by the Harvey Prize Council. We are honored that members of the Council are present here today. It is now my honor to invite the President of the Technion, Professor Uri Sivan, to convey his greetings. Please.
Thank you, Asya. Good day, everybody. It's really a pleasure having the 3 laureates finally in 3 dimensions, real space, here with us. We weren't able to hold this ceremony for 2 years, and it gives me special pleasure to hold it now. My mother, Shendel, made me a scientist without ever intending to. Every other Jewish mother in Brooklyn would ask her child after school, "So, did you learn anything today?" But not my mother. "Easy," she would say. "Did you ask a good question today?" That difference, asking good questions, made me become a scientist. This quote by the great Isidore Isaac Rabi, Nobel laureate in physics, beautifully distills the key to excellence in science. Honored Harvey Prize laureates, members of the Technion Board of Government, Technion Management, deans, faculty members, students, dear guests, and families. Shendel Rabi knew what she was talking about. The process of asking good questions is a crucial component in the education of a scientist. Learning to think and learning to define what constitutes a good question are at the very base of the ability to achieve scientific excellence. That, and the urge not to take yes for an answer. And then comes joy, holding a good question in your hand, just turning it around, looking at it from different angles, poking it, trying to crack the mystery. And guess what? Then comes frustration. If you aim high, the secret is unlikely to reveal itself. But a true scientist also won't take no for an answer. He or she will keep struggling with the puzzle, and in rare cases, Mother Nature relinquishes and reveals her secret. Not all of them, just this little one. And that is excellence. Precisely the excellence we are here to celebrate today among our three honored guests. And exactly what Leo M. Harvey, pioneer industrialist and inventor who greatly valued scientific excellence, prioritized throughout his life, devoting himself to human progress and the establishment of goodwill between Israel and other nations. It is my great pleasure and honor at this Harvey Prize ceremony to congratulate Professor Rafael Meshulam, Professor James Rice, and Professor Joseph Marc de Simon, and thank them on behalf of us all for posing the questions and for cracking them. Our three esteemed honorees joined the great Harvey Prize tradition dating back to 1972, rewarding excellence by recognizing true contribution to the progress of humanity, a source of deep inspiration to us all. These are three gentlemen who clearly know how to ask excellent questions and answer them. Professor Rafael Meshulam, the first scientist to isolate plant cannabinoids and discover the human endocannabinoid system, whose incredible questions led to the development of many safe, natural, and effective treatments for epilepsy, mental health disorder, multiple sclerosis, and pain management. Professor James R. Rice has asked and answered some pretty phenomenal questions about the mechanics and physics of Earth and environmental process, contributing so much to our understanding of geophysics process, the cause of earthquakes and tsunamis, melting of glaciers, and offering us innovative computational modeling techniques with a wide variety of applications. And last but not least, Professor Joseph Marc de Simon, fantastic questions, span sciences, medicine, and engineering, leading to so many breakthroughs in green chemistry, medical devices, nanomedicine, and 3D printing, to name just a few. His print nanoparticle manufacturing platform and clip polymer 3D printing technology are the key to innovations in industries as diverse as medical, dental, footwear, automotive, and aerospace. Dear awardees, on behalf of us all, thank you for your exemplary questions, which generations of future scientists are learning and striving to emulate. We look forward to continuing to follow your brilliant work and wish you the best of health and lifelong satisfaction in your outstanding achievements. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sivan. And now I invite Mr. Steve Berger, National President of American Technion Society, to convey his greetings. Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I just want to say it's a real honor to be here today and to present the prizes to these three brilliant men who have done so much to better mankind. And but I'm also very grateful to be among my family, my Technion family here, my mishpacha. It's so great to be together after all these years, and I'm grateful for that too. Eminent Harvey Prize laureates and distinguished guests, I'm proud to stand before you today as the president of the American Technion Society and to represent the Harvey family in bestowing this tremendous honor in its historic 50th year. This prize was established in 1972 by the late Leo and Lena Harvey and continued by Leo's son, the late Homer Harvey of Los Angeles, who was an honorary life member of the Technion Board of Governors. The Harvey Prize is awarded by the Technion each year for outstanding achievements in science and technology and significant contributions to mankind. It also happens to be a predictor of the Nobel Prize, with more than 30% of the Harvey laureates ultimately receiving the Nobel. Quite a distinction. In other words, the Harvey Prize recipients being honored here today are now among some pretty hallowed company, and rightfully so, as these three have made groundbreaking contributions to their fields and to humankind. Professor Joseph Marc de Simenon has made significant contributions to materials science, chemistry, polymer science, nanomedicine, and 3D printing. His breakthroughs in the use of supercritical carbon dioxide to produce fluoropolymers has many medical applications, with more than 200 patents to his name. He is credited with creating important innovations in the field of precision medicine. Professor Raphael Mechoulam is being honored for his innovative research into the components, mechanisms of action, and implications for human health of the cannabinoid system. He is the first scientist to have isolated THC, the psychoactive part of cannabis, and mapped its structure and its major elements, CBD, which is increasingly used for medicinal purposes. And finally, Professor James R. Rice. I understand your students called you Big Jim. So he has made fundamental and long-standing contributions to the fields of mechanics and materials and geophysics, particularly for the development of the J integral and for his leadership. Both have broadened our understanding of friction and earthquakes. On a side note of some significance, Professor Rice was also the recipient of the Technion Honorary Doctorate in 2005. Professors, it's truly an honor and a privilege to bestow the Harvey Prize upon you today. Your areas of expertise and focus are widely varied, but you all have an important commonality. All of you embody the spirit of the Technion and the focus of finding solutions for the greater problems of the 21st century and making the world a better place. And I just want you to know, if anybody here has any technical questions of these scientists, feel free to ask me afterwards, but don't expect any answers whatsoever. So on behalf of the Harvey family and the American Technion Society, I congratulate today's honorees on their tremendous advancements that serve humanity and serve an inspiration for future generations.
Thank you, Mr. Berger. We shall now have a short musical interlude, and I'm proud to introduce 4 talented musicians who are members of the Technion Stanley Shalom Zioni Symphony Orchestra. Please welcome Chava Hosaniso. She is a second-year student in the Faculty of Mathematics on the viola. Jari Salah, student at the Faculty of Biomedical Engineering on the violin. Ibrahim Bulus, 4th-year student at the Faculty of Industrial and Engineering and Management on the violin. Zohar Ho, a 2nd-year student in the Andrei and the Erna Viterbi Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering on the cello. They will play Ein Klein Nachtmusik by Mozart. Please. Thank you very much, and we will hear from the musicians again soon. So we'll now present the prizes, and I invite Professor Kobi Rubinstein to read the citations for Professor Joseph Marx de Simon, please.
Professor Joseph Marx de Simon, the Harvey Prize is awarded to you in acknowledgement of your groundbreaking work on processes to cleanly synthesize fluoropolymers, fabricate precisely defined shape-specific nanoparticles, and enable the manufacture of 3D printed objects with unprecedented speed. For this and other contributions to material science, chemistry, nanomedicine, and 3D printing, and with gratitude for your resolute commitment to translating leading-edge science into impactful solutions promoting human health and welfare.
Thank you, Professor Rubinstein. And now, Professor Sivan and Professor de Simon, please approach the podium for the presentation of the score.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sivan. And I invite Professor de Simon to respond.
Well, it is a great honor. Thank you very much to be here, and especially in Leo Harvey's memory in this award. This is a big recognition for my students in our group. And Harvey was into manufacturing and fabrication, and pioneered lots of ideas that spawned companies. And what I truly cherish is this interaction between academia and industry as embodied here at the Technion. There's a wonderful book out there by Peter Thiel talking about 0 to 1 about ideas. And ideas come in two buckets in his mind. A 0 to 1 idea is a seminal idea that at the core of that idea is often you alone believe in and nobody else does. And then a 1 to N idea is an incremental idea that builds off that idea. And when you think about funding, and you think about academic circles for funding, and you have to bring in a proposal in the US to the NIH or to NSF, and if you have a 0 to 1 idea, you have to convince 6 to 10 others to believe in your idea in order to get it funded. And that's very hard to do. But there is this place in next to Stanford that I thought was a metaphor, but it's an actual road called Sand Hill Road, where all the investors are. And you can go down Sand Hill Road and get 9 no's and 1 yes, and you're in the game. And I think it's ironic that some of the most breakthrough ideas that you alone believe in get funded through startups. And I think it's an important message for all of us in academia and startup to think about the bridges between the two. In my career, we've had a chance to use light to make things. We started off making things using light in 2 dimensions, much in the way Moore's law has driven the microelectronics industry. And then we became enamored with using light in 3 dimensions to make macroscopic objects. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for making things in an environmentally friendly way, in a just-in-time way, with a warehouse in the cloud by using advanced manufacturing and 3D printing in this manner. And it's really helping to drive a lot of our thinking. And I think much in a way that Leo Harvey would have cherished new ways of making things. And our big focus now is pushing the limits of manufacturing. We've built printers with a 1.5 micron resolution. And so, Moore's law has taken things in 2 dimensions from 1 micron down to single-digit nanometers. And there's a gap between 1 micron and 1,000 microns that we're really interested in harnessing. And I think with the perspectives of startups and the fundamentals interaction with universities, there's a great opportunity to bridge the two. And with that, we're really grateful that this recognition and what it means for our own ideas going forward. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Professor de Simon. And I invite Professor Shimon Marom to read the citation for the second awardee, Professor Rafael Meshulam. Please.
Professor Meshulam, this is in admiration of your pioneering research into the components, mechanisms of action, and implications for human health of the cannabinoid system. In recognition of manifold discoveries that deepened our understanding of drug abuse and provided the promise of therapy for a wide range of diseases and pathological conditions, and with gratitude for your noble contributions to the well-being of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Marom. Professor Sivan and Professor Meshulam, please approach the podium for the presentation of the scroll and the prize.
Many thanks to Professor Uri Sivan, President of the Technion, and to the committee that bestowed the prestigious Harvey Prize to me for the contributions of my group, and I stress my group, to the discovery of the endocannabinoid system, which is a new major neuromodulatory entity. Anandamide and 2-AG, two molecules which we isolated from the brain and which are the main agonists of this system, are involved in a wide variety of processes, both in the central and the peripheral nervous system. Modulating endocannabinoid activity has therapeutic potential in a large number of disease states, and research on this topic is now going on in many laboratories, particularly in Europe and the US. Thank you again.
Thank you, Professor Meshulam. And now I invite Professor Kobi Rubinstein to read the citation for the third awardee, Professor James R. Rice. Please.
Professor James R. Rice, the Harvey Prize is awarded to you in acknowledgement of your enduring fundamental contributions to the mechanics of materials and to geophysics, for the development of the J integral to calculate the energy release rate as the material undergoes fracture, and with high esteem for your leadership in advancing our understanding of friction and earthquakes.
Thank you, Professor Rubinstein. And now Professor Sivan and Professor Rice, please approach the podium for the presentation of the scroll and the prize. Professor Rice, would you like to respond? Please.
Okay, so that was the easy part. Am I hearable okay through this? Good, good. So one feels almost naked nowadays without these things. But I always think when I ask why have I had success in one thing or another, and it seems always to trace ultimately to having had the good fortune of having great and devoted mentors. And while I have not been perfect in mentoring myself, that has always been something which has made me put emphasis on how important that process is. For me, I was a student at Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It was there a mentor, Ferdinand Beer, Later I moved to Brown University, first as a postdoc and later as a faculty member, and again with significant mentorship there, for example, from Joseph Keston, Daniel Drucker, and others. And then I moved to Harvard, and just mentorship from colleagues there. But of course, the mentoring direction gradually changes as you have more and more graduate students, and then you take on the responsibility of being an equally good mentor to them if you can, as fortune and fate brought to you. So I just want to make that remark that mentoring really matters, and we should all take it as a large part of our responsibilities as research academics and scientists and so forth. My own career started with a focus on fracture of engineering materials, metals in particular. Gradually, because it turned out that the only people, or not the only, but the people or the groups with great interest in my early work tended to be military focused, and we all need strong militaries, but on the other hand, you'd like to think you also address broader things of other societal needs, and I have indeed turned in my later career to a focus on trying to understand the physics of earthquakes, how they nucleate, propagate, and all of the detailed mechanics of frictional processes on faults that are involved. And also in more recent times, a focus on the ice, great ice sheets. They're very important to climate issues, their preservation. And the main focus, I think, in my publications over the last couple of years has indeed been processes on the great ice sheets. So that's a description of me, at least as I see me. And again, I want to express the thanks to the great mentoring that I was lucky enough to have. And I want to especially acknowledge my very strong interactions with people at the Technion who were involved in that at different times over the years, a great influence on my life. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Rice. And now I invite the ensemble back to the stage to perform Symphonic Suite No. 2 by Bach. Please. Thank you very much to our very talented students. And this concludes the formal part of the Harvey Prize ceremony. Would the audience kindly stand while the laureates and members of the Presidium leave the stage, please? I wish to congratulate our distinguished laureates once again. Thank you.